FourBoysGarage back here. Today we're going to show you how you can back up your gas furnace, natural gas, propane, likely even a fuel oil if you're on that. I'm not 100% sure, but I would guess it should be fine. Anything basically 15 amps or less for less than $15 in under 20 minutes using a very small generator or inverter. Here we have our unit, which is a 95.5% efficiency furnace, but right now we're still on propane and it really doesn't matter. At the end of the day, these things run on a 15 amp circuit, and anything that you have, whether it's fuel oil, propane, natural gas, you can do the same trick. All right, over here is our kill switch, the power coming in here in this conduit. And then this is the kill switch for the unit. I have it turned off. What you want to do first is trace this wire all the way back to your panel. And obviously check your panel for what size breaker it's on. Many of these should be on a dedicated 15 amp. But sometimes throughout time, people will tap into the same breaker. They will tap into the power somewhere along the line. Maybe there's a junction somewhere. So I recommend follow this all the way back to confirm that you have a dedicated run. We've traced our wire coming in all the way over here to the panel with no other junctions or breaks along the way. Right inside the panel, we find that our breaker is labeled number 26. And someone's conveniently tagged it with some Sharpie. That is in fact a 15 amp, and that's one of the more critical things. You want to make sure that your furnace is about 15 amps or less. Many of them should be. These units really only use, a lot of them depend on the size, anywhere from 800, 900 on startup, but the cruising wattage is really all that matters. Turn off the furnace breaker, go confirm that the power is off with a non-contact. Alright, along the route here I found a spot I like. It's going to be convenient to access. There's some space between the staples, and we'll just confirm that the power is off with the non-contact, confirm it's working on something else, and yeah, we're dead, so we should be safe to cut that. Once again, it's working, and we're dead. Got the breaker off and did the non-contact, and now we're going to make our incision. Get these wires in here a little bit and get it cut. Alright. We got a cut put in the sheathing there about 2 to 2.5 inches back. Really love these things. They're set up for it. Right there, it will cut the outer jacket and get a perfectly clean strip. So we're going to get these pulled off and wires stripped and separated. Wires all cut and stripped. Now we're going to install our plug end. And we need to make sure to install the male on the side heading to the furnace. The side heading to the breaker panel will get the female. Alright, got the male side on, and I want to make sure to get the orientation the same way so I don't have to twist the wires. So I have the ground kind of out. So I'll set this one up the same way. So I'm going to get this one situated with the ground out also. Now these are mismatched. It's just what I had, and they're going to work. And honestly, it's not like I'm using them every day. Don't really care. I do like this one though quite a bit more, and it's a good reputable brand. This, I don't know. They're going to do the job. What I like about this one, I had to relocate down here to the FourBoys Nerf gun tote for a workbench. This thing opens up, and it really gives good access to get your connections made, and then kind of just clamshells back over it, and it just seems so user-friendly. Highly recommend. So easy to use. These are about $7.50 a piece, but anything that can run on that 14.2 wire to a 15 amp breaker will be able to run pretty easily with a small generator. So we'll get this thing put in and give it a whirl. All in, both sides connected and plugged in. Had to cut the wire on this a second time just to get it to sit really nice. So be more mindful of that than I was. And would probably look better if they match, but it's up in the ceiling here and I don't really care that much. This is gonna work. Let's give it a try. Quick note for those who may not know, make sure the black wire goes on this side. Sorry, I'm getting disoriented here. This side here in relationship to the ground should be the black. This would be your white wire, obviously, then your ground wire down here. Alright, blower kicked on, started running. Thermostat had to reboot upstairs. To back up our furnace, we mainly use this, and we also use this on the refrigerator, and that's actually what it was originally bought for. But really, it can handle both at the same time. The key is, once you start up your furnace motor, switch your thermostat fan to on and just keep your blower on your furnace running. That will really reduce the wattage necessary on startups especially, and that way the refrigerator, if you're running them both at the same time, can kick on and off as needed. This unit at 2200 watts rated is plenty for running both. Fridge in the summertime, furnace for the winter, because it will only run the heat, obviously, not the AC. There are much cheaper versions. I think these run about 1100 bucks for the Honda. There are some Champion branded models that I was reading into and considered buying. And like Generac is a pretty decent one. I think a lot of those are around 500-600 bucks. I think that the Hondas have a better parts availability, so if you like to fix things like I do, being able to get service and or parts pretty easily. When you're not using your backup generator, make sure to have a nice cover for it, keep it clean. Usually if we're running this, we would close down the garage door, not all the way, but just about to the top of the generator there, and run a blower like this one, fan. Obviously we're aiming the exhaust out already, but the fan we just go ahead and power with the generator, and setting number 1 probably doesn't even use 100 watts to maintain, but it just pushes that exhaust out, make sure it doesn't back up into the garage and build up. We're always good about running non-ethanol on a lot of our stuff. We keep it for the ATVs and small engines anyway, and we have a station that we can get it right out of the pump. There's also an option here that I looked into and kind of started down the path, which is like an auxiliary tank here. This is for a boat. It's a really small one. I think it's 3 gallon. That you can actually increase its capacity for the fuel, in this case by 3 more gallons. The generator itself has 1 gallon, and you'd have 4. So if you're actually in a situation where you need to run this for a long period of time, instead of your heat stopping in the middle of the night, you can use one of these and connect a fuel line. You can buy these fuel caps. This replaces the cap to your generator. This goes on in its place. Fuel line goes here, and you have something that you can more easily fill up, and maybe you never shut the generator off. But if you need to, at least you can get through the night, especially if you're running a fridge and furnace at the same time. It will really be using more fuel and at least go all night without a problem. At least what I remembered reading at the time was you want to kind of have this auxiliary tank at or just slightly higher than your fuel cap on your generator. So you could put this on top of like a 5 gallon bucket or something. It can pull from this tank as needed. If you don't have non-ethanol fuel near you, it could be good if you're doing the actual small generator to have something like this, canned fuels. I keep some of this around just for this generator, mainly because when I go to turn it off, I try to use this as sort of the last fill, and when I cut it off, that way this is what's in the carburetor. You can also buy a small can if that's what you want, but that's what I leave in the tank, leave in the carburetor, and then I try to run off the non-ethanol, which is much cheaper. A good alternative to the generator can be an inverter, much like this, that you can run off your car. This unit is not big enough. It's only 375 watts. We use it for little things, camping and whatnot. But you can get a much bigger model that hooks directly up to the car battery. Probably have to idle your engine to be able to power it. But if you're really in an emergency situation, you know, it's not maybe the all day, all night type setup, but you'd at least have something that doesn't use fuel, doesn't have oil, doesn't need maintenance, and you'd be able to run your furnace for periods of time. Maybe get it warmed up and go out and shut the car off. Wait till it cools down a little bit. Better than nothing in an emergency situation. So, and these can be relatively inexpensive, and they make different grades of these. Pure sine, which is safer for a lot of furnace circuit boards, is what I would recommend. It's a much cleaner power, and that's what these inverter style generators create, is a very clean sine wave on the electric. Regardless of which of these options that you decide to use, the next thing you have to do would be get a cord into the house. We have an appliance extension cord they make in a 12 gauge wire, which is a little thicker, rated for more wattage. They're very thin, they're flat, and they're easier to shut in a door. This area right here is very close in the garage here to where our furnace would be inside, and I hope to one day soon put a through wall connector here that you can actually plug a cord into on the outside. And then on the inside, you can also plug another cord in, and it will just make it a lot cleaner and easier to do in the future. But don't have it yet, and we don't lose power that much. So we're okay with this setup when we're in a pinch to run the fridge or run the furnace or both.